Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news, and I tell you what, the 2 o'clock show is starting to become my favourite show because we seem to get hit with some positive news. And as you can see on the thumbnail, get it done, SANGARE, the PSV centre defensive midfielder, the defensive midfield juggernaut, as I call him, has been linked to Manchester United from, well, I'm not going to say it's a good source, it's Sky Sports. Could they have a good summer? We'll have to wait and see. But look, that's a positive thing to talk about, especially when the headline was going to be around Darwin Nunez, and apparently he's chosen Liverpool as his destination, which is obviously a blow because a week ago a lot of people were saying we're going to get him, and obviously I was a little bit reticent and a little bit cautious about that one. Also, more comments from Van Gaal about Timber, a little bit about De Jong and a few other areas as well, including Bastoni again. But before we get into the show, you can see that we're sponsored by Boohooman. Love to do the Boohooman integrations because they always ask you a question. Boohooman Active is all about looking good and feeling great, and as the weather gets nicer, then there's no better time to get yourself some brand new activewear. I'm wearing my Boohooman tracksuit top at the moment. Obviously, you might think it's something to do with United. I suppose the colours are. But because Boohooman are sponsoring the show, it means it's time to do some Manchester United trivia. And again this week, we're seeing if you guys can guess which United player Boohooman Active are describing from the below clues. So here we go. This is not me talking. I'm talking as the United player that you've got to try and figure out who it is. So I don't want to confuse people here because I wasn't born in Salford in Greater Manchester. So, guess who I am. I was born in Salford in Greater Manchester. I was in the United team that got to the FA Youth Cup final in the 92-93 season. I made my debut for United against Port Vale on the 21st of September 1994, where I scored both goals in the 2-1 win. I know who it is now. I've won 11 Premier Leagues, 3 FA Cups and 2 Champions League. I ended my career having played 499 games and scoring 107 goals. Who am I? Who am I? Come on, chat. This is a bit of fun before we get into the transfer news. Who am I? Can you tell me who I am? Because I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I am. I'm giving you a bit of a. People are saying Gary Neville. No, you're wrong. It's Scholesy. Scholesy. Get your kit on, Scholesy. You're making your debut against Port Vale tonight. Yeah, of course, it's the legend that is United legend Paul Scholes. Well done to everyone that got that. Another quick question for you is, have Boohooman given United Stand a discount for this video? Of course they bloody well have. By scanning the QR code next to me or by clicking the link in the description and using the code Goldbridge, you can get up to 40% off at Boohooman, excluding certain items. Thank you very much to Boohooman. I love the fact that they are very interactive with our audience and give us a bit of entertainment as well. So big shout out to Boohooman. If you want to get some activewear range, stuff like what I'm wearing here, scan the QR code next to me or use the code Goldbridge through the link in the description. Big shout out to Boohooman, 40% off. Scholesy! Scholesy! Get back out retirement, Scholesy! My midfield's crap! That's what he said in 2012, wasn't it? Yeah, we could do with Scholesy in our midfield. But look, talking of a midfielder, let's fly straight into this because I'm loving this update. It's what we needed. It's probably not true. We're probably just paper talk. It's probably just an agent. But we do like this update because I was so excited about doing this show because I know so many of you in the chat, my learned friends. You know, as I say, my opinion's my opinion. Many of you disagree with it. Some of you agree with it. But one thing I'll never deny is the knowledge over the years and still currently today in the community is brilliant. And I think back to, well, we'll talk about him in a bit, Fabinho. I think back to Fabinho when we were talking about Fabinho years before he went to Liverpool, saying, I know he plays right back, but he can play centre-back. He can play CDM at Monaco. It'd be great for us. When Mourinho came in, the summer we got Mourinho, it was like, go and get Fabinho. He's George Mendes's client as well. And we didn't do it. And he went to Liverpool and the rest is history. And I think that with SANGARE, a lot of you are probably doing a Fabinho. You're going, look, this is a player that's going to tear up any midfield. And it really should be bought. So Man United and Chelsea are interested in signing Ibrahima SANGARE this summer. He has set his heart on moving to England and is convinced he will be a Premier League player next season. 3 years left on his contract with a €35 million release clause. I mean, to me, it's just like, I feel like I'm marking my own maths test because it's just tick, tick, tick. GCSE Maths C. But I look, I'll tell you a little bit about SANGARE. He's 24 years of age. I think he's about 6'2". He's got relentless energy. He's a defensive juggernaut. Last season in the Eredivisie, he had the most interceptions and tackles. He's just exactly. The way I described it on Twitter today is that if we get De Jong and Sangare, we'll definitely get top four. Like, I think they would complement each other as a midfield too perfectly. He actually is quite good at carrying the ball as well, like not literally picking it up. That's a handball, but progressive runs, he's quite good at that. His passing is probably, I don't want to call it a weakness, but it's an area for improvement. But I don't understand why we've not been linked to Sangare before, because he's been tearing it up for PSV. He's probably he is the best centre defensive midfielder in that division. I don't watch that division really, hardly, but Ten Hag managed in that division. He knows about this player. He absolutely knows about this player, and people look. I want to be interactive in a few minutes, but somebody just called him overrated. Sufyan, I don't want to shout you out for that. Overrated, right? The fact is, we probably won't get him because he'll go to Chelsea or Liverpool. How can he be overrated? Like, Chelsea and Liverpool really like him. Their fans love him. So we're not buying somebody that's like probably going to be a flop. We're buying somebody that's really well rated by top coaches across Europe. So I'm very surprised that it's taken until now for us to be linked to him. I'd be all over this deal. I think most of the chat would be all over this deal. I think most of our fan base would be all over this deal. He's exactly what we want. Especially when you think, well, Declan Rice would probably be Manchester United's ~1 priority, but they can't sign him. So who's a specialist CDM? Well, this lad's probably the closest thing you're going to get to that. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to Leicester. This is the sort of signing that Leicester do, like they did with Ndidi, like they did with Kante. They go and buy a player for a reasonable price, and they become a defensive juggernaut at Leicester, and everyone goes, why didn't we get him? He's got that feeling towards him, and what's 35 million euros, 27 million quid? I mean, it's just, as I said, it just ticks so many boxes. We desperately need a player like that. His price is right, his age is right, and he walks straight into that United team. Obviously, there'd have to be a little bit of an adjustment, but the fact that teams like Chelsea and Liverpool are looking at him as well, my only concern with this is it's coming from Sky Sports, but really it's coming from a source. It's coming from a source close to the player. That source is saying he dreams of playing in the Premier League. This could easily be interpreted as Sky have spoken to his agent, and his agent's trying to get him to move to the Premier League. And that's my fear. I mean, we've never really been linked to him, Sangare. We never have. Arsenal have. We never really have strongly been linked to him until today. And I just think that, why is that? We're into the middle of, well, not middle of June. It feels like the middle of June. It feels like the start of July. It feels like we're about to start the season. It's so crap at transfers so far. But my reservations of this are we genuinely in for him, I suppose? And I think that's the most valid point. Do you trust Sky Sports? Do you trust the source that they're talking to? It does smell a little bit of, let's mention Manchester United. Maybe it's Chelsea are in for him, and let's add Man United in like they did with Bastoni, like they have with Botman. That's my concern. Are we genuinely in for him? And that's why I've said on the thumbnail, go and get him, because I know so many of you would love us to get him. I would like us to get him. The way I feel about United at the moment, I don't think they're in for him. I really don't. But I think the price, the style of player would be perfect. If we're not in for him, you've just got to go that Ten Hag doesn't rate him, because he will know everything about him. He's been managing that league. PSV's been their big rival this season. He will know what he's all about. And as I say, I'm only surprised that he's never been a top target for us that we've been linked to consistently. Because whether we are in for him or not, he's a 2+2 is 4 transfer target. And what I mean by that is we always get linked to players that are logical. We were linked to Fabinho. We were linked to Lozano. We were linked to De Ligt because they were logical signings for us to buy, but we were never in for them. Like De Ligt admitted it, Fabinho admitted it. We were never really in for them, but we were linked to them because they were logical. The fact that we've only been linked to Sangare today is quite surprising, because he's a logical signing. He plays in the league that Ten Hag managed. He's as I say, as a CDM, he's got everything that we need. He's ready to take that step up. I'm very surprised that we've not been linked to him till today. And I suppose I'm going to be cautious about it and say we're probably not in for him. It's probably just paper talk from his agent to generate interest, because we've not really been linked with him before. But on a positive, I'd buy him. I'd say to United, go and get him. I think most of you would say go and get him. And I think the only reason we won't go and get him is because maybe Erik ten Hag doesn't really rate him from first-hand experience. And if he doesn't rate him from first-hand experience, I would imagine he doesn't think he's up to it in the Premier League, or he's not convinced about his discipline or his passing. But as I said, when it comes to tackling and pressing and interceptions in that midfield, he was number one for that in that division. And there are some really big clubs looking at him. So I hope it develops into something. And I think for the first time ever, the price tag's really interesting as well. But I suppose the concern is, I'll take him, Mark. No begging, wants to play in the Premier League. Throw in Jones as a bonus, as Mikael Roach. You remember me, Mark? I left my girlfriend for you, and I said that United should look at Sangare. Arian, there we go. Says Arian, there you go. He says it's a masterclass from him. Thank you very much for the super chat. Well, look, to be fair to you, pal, I've already shouted out the community. I don't want to take any credit for this. I think he's a decent option. I'd be very excited if we bought him, but I didn't say go and get him. Most of you in the chat said go and get him, and that's why I love the community, because I think you get some great suggestions in there. My reservations are, I don't know whether we're definitely in for him, and maybe Chelsea are in for him because they quite liked Tchouaméni and they didn't get him. So there you go. But I think in relation to Sangare, the issue that we've got, and I've seen a few people talking about this a little bit as well, the issue we have is that I look at that picture. Did you see that picture of Real Madrid's 6 midfielders next season? I mean, I've obviously got Modric, Casemiro, Kroos, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and was it Valverde or someone like that? You look at that as a 6 midfield option and you go, oh my God. And then you could do that for a few clubs. And then you look at United's midfield options, and no, we're not putting De Jong in there because we've not bought De Jong. Our midfield options are Fred, McTominay, Bruno. That's really it. Donny. Okay, Donny. But you can't put Garner in there. We don't know whether he's staying. So our midfield options are terrible. And McTominay and Fred are there because there's nobody else to put there. They're not good enough. They are a problem. Really hope Liverpool don't end up getting Nunez on the cheap. Reminds me of Torres, says Scholler. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But look, exciting news about Sangare. Let's see if anything becomes of it. 27 million quid. Wants to move to the Premier League. United apparently are interested. I'd love it. It's quite a left field signing, isn't it? Quite a left field signing, and I like those. But I always do feel that with United, we're in for a player way before we go for them, and this just feels way too fresh to be a deal that United are looking at. But I hope that they are. I really do. Pereira is an option as well, of course. So from positive to negative, just let me bring this story in as well. In relation to Timber, I just wanted to mention a quote from Van Gaal. I mentioned the quote this morning, but there was a further bit to the quote where he said, it's not so wise to move now. He's got to be playing. So he's clearly telling Timber not to come to the Premier League because it's not the right time to go. This makes me want to drop my pen on the desk. I'm not mad with you, Van Gaal. Stop talking to him rubbish. I don't like that. It's not wise to move now because he's got to play. Timber, listen to what he's actually saying. He's basically saying you're not good enough to start for Manchester United, pal. Don't listen to him and his Jedi mind tricks. Now's not the time to move because you've got to play. He'll walk straight into our team. No, I don't know any Manchester United fan that thinks we're buying Timber to stick him on the bench. We're buying him to start him, Louis. Stop telling him not to come to Man United because he needs to play football. We're buying him to start him. I don't know what are Manchester United negotiating with Timber? If he's concerned about coming because about game time, just tell him he's going to start every week. Because that's what we're expecting. We're expecting him to be bought to play. I don't get why it's even a topic of conversation that it's not the right time for him to come because he needs to play games. He's going straight into that bloody team. 100% he's got to go straight into that team. So I don't like this silly comment from Louis van Gaal, and also I don't like that this is the story that's being spun at the moment from Dutch sources, that he's concerned about playing time at Manchester United. Does he want to have a Manchester United season review for last year? Because he'll be the only buyer of it. Like, I'll buy it and send it to him. It'll be the only copy that goes anywhere. Watch it back, Jurien, and you will see why you will be playing every week for Manchester United next season. Because I don't think you'll play right back, but you can play right back. You'll be the better right back than what we've got, but you're definitely better than the centre backs as well. So this is a really silly angle on Timber. Like, he's going to start for us. We haven't got two really good centre backs. Like, we're crap. Varane's always injured. Lindelof and Maguire have been rubbish for a couple of years now. He's got to start. So take this lie from his head. The state of our club, this is what our targets prefer. FDG, Frankie de Jong, City, Nunez, Liverpool, Timber, Ajax, Torres, Spurs, Neves, Barcelona, and Kunku, PSG. Nobody prefers us, says Akshay. Oh, that's quite damning. It really is. It is quite a damning comment there, but there we go. And let me just put up this then. So we'll move on to this. Now, a couple of angles here. This was from this morning. It came in while we were live. Manchester United opened talks with Benfica striker Darwin Nunez a while ago, but the midfielder is first priority, which is quite interesting because there has been some other options coming in from Manchester United's, from the journalistic world this afternoon. Effectively, Mike McGrath and another, I think it's Jack Talbot, who are both journalists in the UK, have basically indicated that Darwin Nunez has chosen Liverpool. Manchester Evening News reported that Manchester United are interested in Darwin Nunez but don't want to get involved in a bidding war. We're getting the briefs. We're getting the cautious briefs. We're getting Manchester United retracting from the Darwin Nunez deal and Liverpool dominating that story. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get angry and I'm not going to get surprised. I can pretend to be surprised. Oh my God! Darwin Nunez is going to choose Liverpool over Manchester United. What? They've poisoned his breakfast. What a stupid footballer. Why would you choose Liverpool over Manchester United? I'm shocked, I'm terrified, and ultimately, I'm disappointed. But I'm not. I've been down this road before. We should have bought Fabinho. We never went in for him and Liverpool got him. Liverpool have been buying players effectively for the last 3 or 4 years under Klopp, and Liverpool are a better club than us. We spoke about this back in March. This transfer window is going to be challenging. Any player we want, there will be 4 or 5 other clubs in a better position that might want that player. Darwin Nunez is a prime example. Atletico Madrid are a bigger pull than us. Liverpool are a much bigger pull than us. Newcastle will probably pay more money than us. Arsenal are actually the same as us because they're in the Europa League as well. We've got no divine right to go in and grab these deals. And I think as soon as Liverpool are interested in Darwin Nunez, the pragmatic person says we're not going to win that race. The question is, why are we in that race in the first place? And what's the backup option? Because it feels to me like we've gone... You know, have you ever seen that Simpsons clip where Grandpa Simpson walks in and walks out? It feels like United have done that with Darwin Nunez. Hi, mate, do you want to sign for us? No chance, bye. And walk straight out. It's just a waste of your time. Like, surely, if we're going to go for deals, you've got to get an indication that they want to come to the club. And I maybe I'm labouring under a big misapprehension here, but that's what I assumed United were doing. When they're going for Timber and they're going for De Jong and they're going for Nunez, I presume that they're already getting encouragement from the agent and the selling club to, yeah, they're open to a move. It feels like we're interested in a player who ultimately goes, I'm not interested in you. We're certainly getting those vibes from De Jong, although ultimately I still believe we'll get that deal done. And it feels like with Darwin Nunez, we're almost like, the club's like, yeah, we're in for him, we really want him. Darwin Nunez is like, well, I'll listen to what you've got to say. And then Liverpool come in and, what are you talking to him for? What are you talking to him? What are you talking to Liverpool for? It's like being in a nightclub, isn't it? And you know, I'm presuming that. Well, look, you're in a nightclub. In this scenario, you're a male. You're chatting up a nice female. You're getting on really, really well. But you know what? You've turned up in your pajamas and you haven't had a shower. Liverpool walk in a nice Hugo Boss suit, a splash of Brute, hair's done to the 90s. They've got their American Express credit card out and they say, what do you want to drink? I'll buy you and all your friends a drink. And she goes, see you later in your pyjamas. I'm going to go and chat to him. What's Pajama Guy going to do? Man United, I can't believe it. Last week I looked like that. Yeah, but it's not last week now, and this ain't UK Gold. You might have been a big club before, but this guy's a player now. See you later. And you're like, oh my God, how has that happened? Well, it's happened because we're crap, basically. We're crap. And ultimately, what happens is, if you recruit people like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and give him a load of money and give him 3 years, and basically he takes us... I mean, and look, I'm not blaming this on Ole completely. Mourinho, we were at a low point and we thought things could only get better. We spent 3 years spending, 300 million quid to make things worse. If you sustain a period of decline, you can't be down at the pits of despair going, come to us and play for us, Darwin Núñez, when Liverpool are up there looking down on everyone else. Like, we're going to pay the price. I said it in January, and I don't necessarily know if I feel like this, but I said it in January that I thought things were going to get worse before they got better. Now, we got Ten Hag, which gives me some positivity. But what I meant back then is the journey back is so far. It's not just get a new manager. It's not just spend 150 million quid. We could be stood with 150 million quid still in our pocket in August and try and sign 10 players, and they all reject us. So this is not as simple as, yeah, we're going to get Darwin, we're going to get Timber, we're going to get De Jong, because there's competition for those players. And their options away from United are going to be better. So we better negotiate well. You can get Darwin Núñez, but you better have a negotiation package that makes him want to come to the club. And at the moment, it looks like we are not negotiating very well with any of our targets. This summer is giving me the summer of 13 vibes, a number of no from the big names, and at the last minute overpay for Fellaini, says Glenn. I will stay with what I've always said. I do think that we will end up having a good transfer window, but I've got to be honest, it's disappointing when you lose out on a transfer target that we've clearly spoken to and he's just snubbed us. If that happens, look, the Liverpool interest has only been heightened over the last 24 hours, and that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get him. If we can't get... And also, you can flip things around, can't you? Because maybe the Liverpool interest from Darwin Núñez's side has been put there to make United pay up. We'll have to wait and see. If we can't get Núñez, who would you like to see as the realistic backup target? Surprised we haven't seen more of Jonathan David, says James Cave. I don't rate Jonathan David, James. Got nothing against him. I just don't think he's the quality. He reminds me a little bit of the sort of a Lacazette, in the sense that he's very good in the French league, but how good would he be in the Premier League? I don't think I'd love to be proven wrong, but I don't think Jonathan David is of the quality that we need at Manchester United. I think we'll end up with Richarlison. I don't want us to, but I think we'll end up with Richarlison. I think that will be our next big target, and that's not as exciting and as inspiring as a Darwin Núñez would be, but that might be, and we might not even get him. Like, we don't know what we're capable of getting until we get it. Hi Mark, feels like your feeling of Richarlison may be happening. I'm open to it. Spurs heavily interested in Torres, so maybe Bastoni does happen now, says Ty. And I do this with work sometimes. I beat myself up about worst case scenarios I've created in my head. Let's give the club a chance. Maybe they will surprise us, says Nick P. Look, exactly, Nick. I understand the frustration, and I think frustration is absolutely fine. We want to get our business done, and the club would not criticise the fans for being frustrated about that. But you can't write the summer transfer window off when it's not officially open for a couple of days. Having said that, it's a little bit worrying, because we know that Manchester United were in talks with Darwin Núñez, and therefore if he goes to Liverpool, we know we've missed out on a number one target, which we don't want to do. We don't want to be giving Erik Ten Hag second, third, fourth options. This is what happened with Mourinho. This is definitely what happened with Van Gaal. And if we don't get Darwin Núñez, then already we're failing the manager by not giving them what they want. Especially as a new manager, as a brand new manager, you want to be giving him his first choices, and that's United's problem. That's not Ten Hag's problem. They've got to try and do that. I think even Longstaff will reject us. It's like we are that man. Even blind girl rejects, says Jay. Okay. So, quick mention there about Bastoni. There was an update that came in from the Manchester Evening News. And basically, we've got an update coming up on De Jong as well. Alessandro Bastoni, directly from him. I have a 2-year contract with Inter, so I'm very calm. The club hasn't communicated to me anything, so I'm very calm. I think about Italy, then I go on vacation and I resume training with Inter. So there's nothing from Bastoni's side at the moment. I did see another update about Bastoni just before I came live. I like Bastoni. I think he's got everything that we would need, but I still believe that Timber remains the most likely signing and United's priority. And whether you think Bastoni's better than Timber or Torres is better than Timber, the bottom line is that Ten Hag wants Timber. And if he wants Darwin Nunez and he goes to Liverpool, and he wants Timber and he stays at Ajax, that's 2 deals that United have failed on. And that's what I want to hammer home. The pressure's on United, the pressure's on Murta, the pressure's on those people working for him. Ten Hag was the right appointment and we applauded it. You can't start giving him second and third choice options, because when he fails, if he fails, he'll always be able to look back, and so will we, and say, well, you didn't get him the number 1 choices that he wanted. Your job is to get them. You can't just go, oh, it's difficult. It's difficult. No, it's not difficult if you're talented and you're good at your job. And this is where United, the question mark, stays. How good are we at negotiating? And traditionally, over the last 9 years, we've not been very good at negotiating. So that's the issue. Now, this is going to cause a bit of a meltdown. So Frankie de Jong, this is from Simon Stone, club journalist. He's not a club journalist, he's BBC, but he's a tap-in merchant. And I like Simon, and sometimes a tap-in merchant's a good thing, because when they say something, you know it's going to be verified. He'll have checked it out. He probably checked it out with the club. He's not going to say, Simon Stone's never going to go, United are in for Mbappe, because we're not. So he says, Man United don't want to be held to ransom by Barcelona for Frankie de Jong, who are looking to raise funds for their own transfer business this summer. Well, again, there is a message of caution there. There is a message of patience there. There is a message of we haven't got a lot of money there. And this is only going to cause more frustration. And I think the club needs to be really careful about how they're managing this summer transfer window, because I still believe we'll have a good transfer window. But if you look at the potentially 2 briefs that have come out today, Manchester Evening News saying that United will not be held to ransom by Benfica and don't want to get into a bidding war with Liverpool. Well, that's basically like we've got no money. And then you got Simon Stone saying Man United will not be held to ransom from Barcelona. So basically we've got 2 stories attached to United today, attached to Darwin Nunez and Frankie de Jong, where it comes across that United are going, we'll walk away rather than spend the money. And that is not what United fans want to hear after our worst ever Premier League season and some of the worst decade of our club's recent history in relation to recruitment and the decline in the football club. If this is to be a change, then the club need to change the messages that they're putting out. But maybe they can't change the messages they're putting out, because ultimately they are going to have a very cautious and potentially bad transfer window as they lose out on target after target after target. At the moment, United have got to work on that. It's a long summer ahead of us. Officially, the transfer window doesn't open until Friday. But the messages coming out today are not the best. They're not the best. I like the Sangare story. I'm not sure we're actually in for him, but I hope that develops into something. But we won't be held to ransom by Barcelona. We won't be getting into a bidding war with Liverpool for 2 players that are number 1 targets. Darwin Nunez is the number 1 target for the attacker, and Frankie de Jong is the number 1 target for the midfielder. It's not a good look to be missing out on those targets, but we've got a history of it. As I said, Mourinho wanted Perisic, United wouldn't pay £5 million more, so they walked away. That's not how a football club should be run. If your manager wants a player, you've got to get that player. That doesn't mean you've got to pay silly money, but you've got to make sure that you negotiate in a way that you get that player. Glazers turned out all right in the end. It is what preyed on the Glazer, what foul dust floated in the wake of the dreams that temporarily closed out my interest in. Okay, Tommy, he said, I don't know what you're talking about there, but probably not going to go down that well. Liverpool are now down to 4-7 to sign Nunez, says Dylan. Mark, update from Rod Dawson about Nunez. Okay, we'll just take a quick look at that. This is what it's like in the summer. That's what it's like in the summer. Gerard Romero gave an update on De Jong about having an empty locker, and he's the only player that's got an empty locker. So I don't know what people think about that. I can't see any update from Rob Dawson. He's not posted anything on his Twitter since May the 26th. So maybe it's in an article or something. I'll just have a quick look. Yeah. Manchester United are prepared to rival Liverpool for Darwin Nunez, from Rob Dawson in the SBN. So, yeah, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. And I think that caution is coming from Manchester United. That's definitely their message. Let's not beat about the bush. They are definitely being cautious. We're not going to be held to ransom by Barcelona. We're not going to get into a bidding war with Nunez. And obviously that message is not a message that the fans like. But if I play devil's advocate and flip it the other way, are United actually showing strength to Barcelona? We're not going to pay silly money. If you want to sell him, we'll do a deal, but we're not going to play silly money. Maybe that'll work in their favour. With Darwin Nunez, right, we want you, but we're not getting into a bidding war. If you want to come to Man United, that's great. If you don't, go to Liverpool. Maybe we're playing hardball from a position of strength. Maybe I'm being a complete and utter naive prat. We'll have to wait and see. But look, Sangare is very exciting if it's true. £27 million for a CDM like that. As I said, I think if you put Sangare and De Jong, and that is a big dream. I'm not saying it's going to happen. If you put Sangare and De Jong next to each other as a midfield too, the upgrade on McTominay and Fred is literally like being in a go-kart and going into a Lamborghini. It's just a completely different game. And Man United would comfortably get top four with those two if they played most of the season together. Bastoni's interesting. Keep an eye on that. Still don't feel like there's any truth in that. I think they're trying to find interest in Bastoni because maybe the Spurs deal's fallen through. De Jong is De Jong is De Jong. It's going to be a long story. And Nunez, well, look, that at least something's happening around a target. I actually would like him not to go to Liverpool and come to Manchester United. Check out the video I did this morning on Darwin Nunez, on why everybody wants Darwin Nunez, because he can play in two positions for a start, and he's a very different player to I think some people think he is. This is why Liverpool wants him. But what will happen with Darwin Nunez is it will move forward very quickly now, because if there are clubs after him, then it's how quick people can react. Addy says, I think I like Maguire and I think he's better than his past 18 months, but can't help but think of the Homelanders PR team when I see the Manchester plants thing, says Addy. Look, I've got to be fair. I saw the picture of Harry Maguire. So apparently Harry Maguire went really early to the Munich Memorial when they were over there for the England game. And the picture was put out of him there. And I think it doesn't matter whether it's Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes. If Portugal were playing there, I'd expect Bruno to go to the Memorial as well. I think it's a nice touch for a Manchester United player to go somewhere which is so massive for our football club. And I know people were saying PR Maguire and all that lot, and not one part of me thought that was PR. It might be PR. I'm not going to pretend that it couldn't be PR, but I just thought, when I saw it, I was like, well, he is still a Manchester United player. He was the captain last year, and he's gone to the Munich Memorial. And I thought it was a nice touch, because the bottom line for me is that it brings eyes to the Munich Memorial, and more people know about it. So that's the positive for me. I don't think it makes people think, oh, Harry Maguire went to the Munich Memorial, let's keep him as captain and play him every week. So I don't really see the negative in that at all. I think that it's a nice touch, and I'd like to see more United players doing that, to be fair. I don't people aren't going to suddenly think he's a good defender for that, are they? So, hi Mark, I'm with proper coaching. Do you think Bruno could be more disciplined minded? Yes, Michael. I think that Bruno has to change his game massively, to be honest with you. In my opinion, Tellez is a right winger playing at right left back, says Miles C. For me, he's just not a very good left back. Why pay 100 million for someone from Portugal? Says Nathan Davis. And We've spoken about the Rob Dawson tweet, Jevon. So Rob Dawson of ESPN is saying that Manchester United are ready to rival Nunez. So we'll have to wait and see. As of which player do you think United will sign over 90% chance as Sabotage? I'm not 90% on any player at the moment for United. I still remain 75% on De Jong. I still remain 80% on Timber. That's where I'm at with that. Just a little bit more on Rob Dawson. Man United are prepared to rival Liverpool for the signing of Darwin Nunez. He is high up on their list. United would not be put off, even if it meant going head-to-head with the Anfield side for his signature. So there you go. Contradicts what Manchester Evening News said. But Darwin Nunez's issue for both Manchester United and Liverpool is Benfica's valuation. And Liverpool are ready to make a £70 million bid, opening bid, says Ekrem Kunor. Be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how that pans out. I mean, as I say, that'll be a very interesting deal between Manchester United and Liverpool there, because we've got no right to win that. He should be picking Liverpool over us. So look, it's a bit of excitement. It's a bit of genuine transfer news. I mean, to be honest with you, you shouldn't be moaning, because for the last 2 days, and I felt like it as well, we've been moan. We've genuinely got a proper transfer story going on with Darwin Nunez, and it is genuine. Like, you can tell it's genuine. Genuine journalists close to the club are saying that United are in for him, and Liverpool the same. So this is a genuine story with something that's happening. Like, the De Jong deal could take bloody ages because no one else is in the race. If PSG come in, then that'll be over very, very quickly. So at least we've got a story that's actually moving. And I'm very interested by the Sangare story. Let's see what happens with him, because, as I say, defensive juggernaut, ridiculous tackling and interception stats, ridiculous energy. I think he'd be perfect for our midfield, but let's wait and see what happens. Right, thanks everyone for watching. We're back at 8 o'clock tonight, unless we actually sign anybody, so we'll be back at 8 o'clock tonight. I'm on Twitch with my Manchester United FIFA career mode, which is really exciting at the moment, and I'll be on there in about 20 minutes, half an hour. So thanks everyone for watching. Rob Dawson also says that Manchester United are looking at signing Nkunku. I would love Nkunku. I would love Nkunku at Manchester United, but I don't feel. Thanks for letting us know about that, Boney M and everyone else. I don't think that Manchester United will get Nkunku, and I think we blew Nkunku. That sounds wrong. We blew off any chance of getting Nkunku when we let Rangnick go. Rangnick, to me, was the key to Nkunku because of his connections with Leipzig. You don't sack Rangnick and then try and sign Nkunku. That would be absolutely stupid. Like, if Ten Hag really wants Nkunku, he'd have kept Rangnick involved. The club would have kept him involved. So I don't see that happening. As much as I would like Nkunku, I agree with Jordan. I really would like him. I just want to say as well, ahead of the 8 o'clock show tonight, think about this, because I'm going to gift out some memberships tonight as well. I've been meaning to do that for a while. So I'm going to be gifting out some memberships tonight. But also, what I'm going to talk about on the 8 o'clock show tonight, a little bit later into the show, I want you to think of maybe 1 or 2 players that have been bad this season that you think are going to be great next season. And I'm going to give you a name. I think Luke Shaw. I think I'm going to be there going, you all laughed at me. You all laughed at me. Well, look who's laughing now. I think Luke Shaw next season will have a great season. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Thanks, everyone. And I'll speak to you in a bit. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way. It's starting to heat up a little bit now. I can feel it starting to simmer. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We're on the road to 354,000. Get your notifications on. I think it's starting to hot up this summer.